In this lecture, I'd like to talk about Wi-Fi bands. The band of a network defines what frequency it can use to broadcast the signal. This means it also defines the frequency that the clients or the computers need to be able to support and use in order to be able to connect to this network. The two main frequencies used in Wi-Fi networks are 2.4 and 5 GHz. Now, previously, when we used AeroDump-NG, we were only sniffing on the 2.4 GHz frequency. You can see, first of all, my wireless adapter is in monitor mode, Mon0 in here. So if I just do AeroDump-NG Mon0, you'll see that I can get the wireless networks around me. But you might have noticed that you won't actually see all the networks around you when you run AeroDump-NG. I'm going to Control-C this, and if I go here to my normal host machine, and it actually has a built-in wireless adapter, so it's not as strong as my alpha adapter, but if I look for networks, you'll see I actually have much more networks in here. And mainly, I have networks ending here in the name by 5G. Now, the network doesn't have to necessarily end in 5G, but here in Ireland, if a network broadcasts over 5 GHz, the service provider adds 5G to the network name. But we also have other networks broadcasting over 5G that don't end in 5G. But basically, the main point that I want to talk about is I'm not able to see all the networks around me in here in AeroDump-NG. And the reason for this is because AeroDump-NG is only sniffing on 2.4 GHz frequency. So if you do this and you don't see all the networks around you, or if you're sniffing on your own network, but you don't see all the clients in your network, it's possible that your router is broadcasting over two bands, over 2.4 and 5 GHz. And if you're not seeing the router at all, if you're not seeing the network at all, like what's happening here for me, then the router is probably just broadcasting over 5 GHz. Now, this doesn't mean that your wireless adapter is not good. It just literally means that this adapter is not able to see 5 GHz frequency. It's just outside of its limit, outside of its reach. The main problem with 5 GHz is that there are a lot of wireless adapters that can see it and can communicate with it, but not many of them support monitor mode and packet injection. So you might see me and other people recommending wireless adapters like Alpha AWUS 036 NHA. This is my most favorite wireless adapter. I use it all the time, even now. But the problem with that adapter is it doesn't pick up 5 GHz frequency. So it doesn't mean that that adapter is bad, it just means that it can't see 5 GHz frequency. Like I said, there aren't many wireless adapters that support 5 GHz, but I have an adapter here. It's Alpha AWUS 036 ACH, and this adapter supports both 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz frequencies. It's not as good as the Alpha, but it does the job. Now, if you want more information about wireless adapters, check out the link in the resources. I'm not going to talk a lot about what wireless adapters do. But in this lecture, I want to show you how to sniff and discover 5 GHz frequency networks, and then so that you can use all the attacks that you've learned in my other lecture and in my previous videos with 5 GHz networks. So, the adapter that I'm using right now supports 5 GHz, but as you can see, I still can't pick up these networks. That's because I need to specifically tell AeroDump-NG that I want you to listen on 5 GHz frequencies and 5 GHz channels. To do that, all we have to do is just do AeroDump-NG, like we always do. And then we're going to use a new argument that we haven't seen before, and this argument is called band. And we're going to tell it that I want you to sniff on band A, and that's the band that supports 5 GHz frequency. And then I'm just going to give it the name of my wireless adapter in monitor mode, which is Mon0. So the command is very simple. It's very similar to what we've used before. And all we have to do is just type in AeroDump-NG, followed by the band. And the band that we want to use is A. and we're following that with our wireless interface. So I'm gonna hit enter. And as you can see, as soon as we hit this, I'm actually just gonna do Control-C now because you can see the results. You can see that we got much more networks right now. And we have the 5 gigahertz network. So we have this network and this network that we weren't able to see. We have the Jameson Whiskey network as well. And basically we're able to capture all the networks that use the 5 gigahertz frequency. Now what you can also do, let me clear the screen. You can specify multiple bands using the band argument. So again, using the same command, instead of just saying band A, we can do band A, B, G. And what this will do is it'll tell AeroDump NG to capture data on both 2.4 and 5 gigahertz frequencies at the same time. So let me show you. So as you can see right here, we're capturing some 2.4 gigahertz networks and we're capturing 5 gigahertz networks as well at the same time. And we'll also be able to discover clients connecting to both bands. The only problem with using AeroDump like this is, first of all, you need a powerful wireless adapter to do this. Also, it'll be slightly slower than only sniffing on one band, because when you're sniffing on two bands, you have a lot of channels that AeroDump NG has to hop on all of them and discover clients and networks broadcasting on these channels. So, if you want quicker results, then you're better off just specifying the band A when you want to sniff on 5 gigahertz frequencies and just not specify the band when sniffing on 2.4. But as you can see, you can just run the command like so with band ABG, and this way you'll be able to capture data sent over 2.4 and 5 gigahertz frequencies. Also keep in mind, in order to sniff data on 5 gigahertz frequency, like I said, your wireless adapter needs to be able to support this band. So simply adding the band argument will not work unless your wireless adapter can support and can sniff data on this band. One more thing that I want to note, I've actually said this before, if you run AeroDump NG against a network and you see some devices missing, then there is a high chance that these devices are connected over 5 gigahertz. So again, use the band A and then you should be able to see these devices.